mouse is so laggy. Why? When you're trying to do something quickly and your mouse lags, it's the actual worst. Oh my god. 40% off Twitter Premium. Shut up. Oh, think about it. God. I hate that you need to pay for analytics on Twitter. Most apps just give you that for free because they should be able to. They're holding that data anyways. Why are they holding it behind a paywall? Whatever. Yeah. Maybe then my shit can stop getting like, oh, we don't think you're a real account. Or can you please verify that you're a real account for the 3rd time this month? Anyways. I just realized my glasses are fucking dirty. Where is... Here. So, I just took a shower, did my skincare. I need to eat. And what else is on the agenda? So, I'm cosplaying Glep from Smiling Friends. Don't know if I'm going to be able to do the boy-girl scene today or not. Probably not. Because I think I need to wash his costume. Because, like, Charlie's costume is literally just an orange hoodie and blue sweatpants. And I think those actually need to be washed. So maybe I can quickly wash those or something. Yeah. I have to trim the wig, and then I'll have to vacuum afterwards, because, oh my god. Luckily, it's not gonna be like, I just gotta trim the bangs a little bit. It's nothing crazy. It's why I got a wig that, like, for the most part is what it is I need it to be. It's really just, like, the color that's necessary. And I want to, like, make the most of filming, so, like, have safer work, NSFW, like, full-on clips that will be behind a paywall, stuff that will be for free on Fansly, stuff that will go on Instagram, TikTok, and, like, have enough short-form stuff with that I can, like, have something to post every day and still have some extra, like, you know, until I film the next thing. But yeah, we'll see. Oh. So I want to find something to listen to while I eat. I think I had something saved in my playlist. Oh my god, okay. That's actually, this will be good.
That was long.
A lot.
God damn it. I started playing Cult of Lamb for the first time last night, and that was fun. My boyfriend figured out the couch co-op thing, because he couldn't before. And unfortunately you can't, on different systems, play together. You can only do couch co-op. But, yeah. Oh my god. Yesterday, my nose was so itchy. You know when you... You know when you, like, get, like, a thread from your clothing and, like, you just, like, wrap it around your finger mindlessly until, like, the circulation cuts off? That's what the tip of my nose fucking felt like from allergies. Like, it just fucking burned super bad. It felt like I had a scratch on my nose. It was awful. Didn't wash the hair because it's gonna go up in a white cap. And it's not really dirty. I can, like, wait one more day. Also, like, is it gonna balance out? No, it's not? Okay. That's fine. I'll make it balance out. That was weird. Alright. So I've been following this girl for a while. It's Black Friday. She's like a trad goth. I believe she's from New Zealand. This is not her. This is somebody who's like harassing her or whatever, making content about her. The posters in the background of this girl, like, she's either like, well, first of all, Clannad. Do you like Clannad? I don't trust people who like Clannad. I'm gonna be so honest. But anyways, like, that's your biggest poster, is your Clannad poster? Really? I don't know how you're supposed to pronounce it.
I generally don't engage in drama, but alright, let's go. So this person has made a deep dive hate video about me, 2 hours long.
A lot of different controversies.
It draws from a source that has guessed a lot of stuff and made a lot of stuff up. It is, as many of the comments say, a nothing burger. It's a boring and botched story of my life. It was such a slog that even I struggled to watch it, but there is so much flat out bullshit in there, and so many people have seen it, I cannot let it alone. According to Riley's video, I neglect my children, abandoned my pets, am a racist, a scammer, a liar. I believe in free speech, but I also believe in consequences. And I don't believe in slander, which is what this is.
This is actually for Freya directly.
Listen to me very closely. If you attempt to get this video taken down, not only will you bring even more attention to it,
but I will never stop talking about it.
I will make multiple follow-up videos, and I will monetize the hell out of it. Do not do something stupid. It will not bode well for you. I can promise you that.
Starting your video with a threat was really cool and totally not unhinged at all. Sounds like you have way too much free time. Get a better hobby. Okay, let's address everything, shall we? Every controversy, everything I never explained, every thread I left loose, everything that's been too personal or that I'm scared to talk about and still am. Let's publicly talk about all the painful stuff that I'm not ready to talk about. Traumatic things. Let me bare my soul before you, because I will not have my good name besmirched in such a disgusting way. Let's do this thing by thing, like bullet points, in no particular order. I swear upon this Bible, and this Satanic Bible, and this Luciferian Bible, I swear upon the integrity of my own soul, that everything I am going to tell you is true. 100% unfiltered everything. I've absolutely made mistakes and done and said stupid things. I've done things I'm ashamed of and embarrassed about. Of course I have. So have you. So has everyone. I'm a normal person living a life. Of course I've done things, or usually in my case, not done things, that mortify me to think of. All I've ever done was the best I could do at the time.
The Louvre and Père Lachaise incident.
The Louvre and Père Lachaise. Both very famous locations. The fact that you've never heard of the Louvre speaks volumes about your ignorance, but I digress.
Listen, I'm not French, I'm Irish.
Oh, so you speak Irish then?
Basically, Freya and Matthias...
It's Matthias, actually.
She and Matthias entered the Louvre. While inside, Freya was waving a selfie stick around while talking loudly.
This is not what happened. We didn't get into the Louvre at all. We only got as far as the entrance.
Reasonably. Shakes his head. And he doesn't want to see him go in.
I don't know.
They look a bit... Like what?
Your clothes, your...
What is wrong with my clothes and my hair?
For me, I like it. No, it's not possible.
And here is the Louvre later offering me a VIP tour to make up for it. The story that I told back then is the story. It's funny you talk about your source, because I used to see people quoting from some source who knew what really happened at Père Lachaise. The only story I remember was that I was twerking on graves, which is pretty funny. I've never twerked in my life. I don't even think my ass can do that. But the Paris thing, there's literally nothing more to it. I'm sorry it's not more scandalous, but what I said happened is what happened.
Her and Mr. Owl's wedding. It is very much possible that Freya did take these funds intended for this live stream wedding and instead use them to travel to Germany and party and relocate and do drunken shopping.
She also harps on about the wedding live stream thing.
It cannot be stressed enough that this wedding was very well funded.
I got about $40 from that wedding live stream fundraising thing. That's it. $40. Hardly enough to jump on a plane and spend big on partying. I couldn't refund them because it was a donation, so when I later got married to Matthias, I emailed every contributor and sent them our wedding video long before it was published, so at least they'd be getting something. I don't recall anyone actually caring or asking for their $2 back.
It was very basic, lackluster ceremony.
That was a typical German wedding. That's how they're done there. Different from the big glamorous events Americans might be used to. So how was I paying for all my shopping and traveling and partying?
Used the wedding funds to travel to Germany and party. Did some drunken shopping while she was there.
It couldn't possibly be because I was earning my own money at that point. I also had a credit card back then, hence the debt. I was getting okay money from YouTube. Not what most people would consider a lot, but, you know, a lot for me. Onision. Yeah, I did used to like Onision's videos. I didn't know much about him. I thought they were pretty funny and well put together. I didn't like him for long. The more I heard about him, the more I started to think that his I'm a crazy asshole act wasn't a joke. I've never met him, but I understand he is a vile and contemptible person.
I am a proud Onision historian. I was there every step of the way.
I wasn't at all.
I've never heard the stories or the rumors about him. You did know the rumors. You're a liar. I don't believe a word you say. You wanted views, and you suck.
I still don't know all the stories about him, so no, I wasn't lying. I, unlike you, have better things to do than obsess over people I don't like.
That's absolute bullshit. Freya, do you think we're fucking stupid?
Yeah, I kinda do. Why are we still talking about Onision? I stopped caring about him years ago. You should too. Why are you even giving this guy your breath and time?
Onision is just full of spite and literally cannot let anything go ever.
Oh, so kinda like you. The Sophie charity.
At the time, she was disrespectful to Sophie Lancaster's now dead mother over not being included in a goth influencer calendar for the Sophie charity.
What the actual f***? That never happened. I never communicated, to my knowledge, with Sophie Lancaster's mother, let alone be disrespectful to her. Why would I do that? I was not remotely interested in being in that calendar. The woman who was putting the calendar together, let's call her Renee, because that is her name, had previously written some huge, random, hateful bitch spiel about me and toxic tears. I was aware of her. Long story short, kept hearing that Renee was a terrible person. Sophie Charity messaged me on Twitter asking if I could retweet Renee's video. I love the charity, but I was not putting that hateful woman's face on my Twitter. Me being typical me, I didn't reply with my reasons. I didn't get around to replying at all. Here is the entirety of my communications with the Sophie Charity ever. I can, however, tell you that someone Renee asked to be involved, a charismatic Cuban-American musician, told me he was going to be involved in her calendar project but pulled out. I can't remember his reasons, but I remember thinking, oh my god, that's insane. I love the Sophie charity. I do not love Renee. A hateful and bitter person, I believe, is the antithesis of what Sophie stands for. Watching old videos with Matthias is like watching a previous life. It makes me deeply uncomfortable.
Freya was allowed to stay in Germany for up to 6 months as a visitor.
3 months without a visa, actually.
Her and Matthias have been together for 6 months, so her visitor stay was almost due to end, and they conveniently got engaged. It's eerily convenient timing, okay? I'm just saying.
I had a language learning visa that was good for like a year at that point, so no eerily convenient timing.
The German government figured out that she basically tried to scam their visa system into staying for free. She used her ex-husband to gain citizenship in Germany. Her wedding to him was a sham. He found out and turned her into the German authorities.
So, the German government found out I was scamming the visa system. Gosh, I must be devious. And that's why Matthias dumped me. I have never explained why Matthias and I broke up. I do not want to explain it now. I am sick at the thought of it. I am, for some reason, still scared. No doubt he will email me after this, probably with threats, but I will not have this put about. God. I did not explain it online because I knew my followers would probably rain down hate upon him, and I would have to cope with the consequences of that, him being my neighbor still, and I absolutely could not cope with it. At the time of our breakup, I was experiencing the worst mental health of my life. I had panic attacks daily. I couldn't eat or go outside without having panic. I kept waking in the night with my heart hammering. I experienced disassociation for weeks, which was terrifying. If I saw his face, I'd spend the rest of the day in a disassociative waking nightmare. The primary reason we broke up is because he cheated on me in the bathroom at the Gothic Pogo party with a girl who was actually in my vlog from that day or the day before. I made friends with her, we added each other on Facebook. No hate towards her, she assumed we must have had an open relationship, but I was still like, yeah, I don't think we can be friends now. It was really weird how I found out. I just had a feeling.
Nice of you to try hooking up with my husband. Pretty fucking crushed, to be honest. Guess I have to remove you as a friend on here. That's not what friends do to each other. I have a boyfriend, we're in an open relationship, we also have sex with other people sometimes, and I thought that you were also like that with Matthias and you're okay with it. I'm sorry, it's not like that. We're not like that. I know it's his fault and not yours. I'm just very sad. Oh god.
But I was still like, yeah, I don't think we can be friends now. It was really weird how I found out. I just had a feeling when I saw him close a messenger window one day. He admitted to wanting to have something on the side with her. He was pretty contrite. I found out later that he flirted with girls, including my friends, at any party I wasn't at. We tried to work through this, but that wasn't the only reason our relationship had to end. He would throw stuff at me, shout at me, raise his fist, make me cry, then laugh at me, gaslight me, bully me about my weight. Every bad day he had was my fault. He was insanely jealous of Barnaby. Every time I was on the phone to someone, he'd say, "Is that your ex? You talking shit about me?" He locked me on the balcony. He would purposely blast music when I needed quiet for filming. He took so much money from me. Like, I paid the flat deposit, he kept that for himself. He had major anger issues. I tried to help him with this. He got on some meds for a bit, and I remember him reading a book called Wut tut gut, but he decided he didn't need this. One Mara Luna, he kneed me in the back and I fell on my hands and knees because I wouldn't have sex with him in a public place. I have a snippet of video from that night, which is nothing really, but it's the only evidence I have of what he was like. He forced me to delete it. I made a copy, of course I didn't delete it. The police came 2 or 3 times to our flat for domestic violence reports. Our neighbours called the police after one altercation, and a policewoman told me, "You need to leave him," and I just said, "I can't." I never understood why people stay in abusive relationships, but you do feel trapped. I kept thinking, it'll be better when this, it'll be better when that. I can't remember a lot of things now because I try not to think about that time. My friends in New Zealand knew something was wrong and they were going to put together to bring me home. My friends in Germany kept saying, "Are you okay?" and I don't know how they knew because I never told anyone about this stuff. I think the Paris trip was actually to make amends for some awful row we'd had. My only hope is that he wouldn't abuse any woman in the future. I've since heard he's been abusive to girls online, which surprises me not at all. At parties and gigs, I've heard stories. He's also not a goth anymore. If it hadn't happened so fast, if I had recognised the red flags, which now seem so obvious, I wouldn't have married him. So yeah, my 5-year German residence permit was linked to our relationship. Visa-wise, my whole life was now in Germany. If we had stayed legally married for a year or two longer, I could have stayed there at least long enough to sort something out. He had started seeing other girls. Like, it would have made no difference to him, except that he got to pay less tax. I guess he knew he had that power over me still. He went to the immigration office and told them we'd split up. He admitted to me he did it because he was jealous about Barnaby. I went to the immigration office because I'd heard infidelity on his part was not grounds for cancelling a residence permit, but they said it was cancelled now and nothing could be done. Why don't I apply for a different German visa? I didn't. Obviously, I worked on getting a UK visa instead. He ruined my life because he could. He took so much from me, he annihilated my mental health. So there you go. That's how I scammed the German visa system and used Matthias to stay there.
Do you guys remember the trend of every single creator making videos dedicated to Eugenia Cooney exploiting her condition for views? Yeah, well, Freya had to get in on that too.
Eugenia Cooney. God, this is so long, my arm's going to sleep. I made that video because at the time a lot of people were making similar videos and I thought they were shit. I don't have an eating disorder, but I've been close with people who do, and I grew up understanding mental health and disabilities. I didn't even monetize that video, I just hoped that my voice might make a difference. It didn't. The meta tags. I included a bunch of emo or similar YouTubers' names in my tags, or relevant interests, often as upload defaults, to attract new viewers who might also like my channel. It was a recommended tip to do at the time, and lots of people also used It's Black Friday in their meta tags. Even in this example you can see emo, emo hair, graveyard girl, Susie, Elvira. I also tagged Brian Stars, Alex Durami, My Digital Escape, Johnny Gilbert. I didn't watch these YouTubers, I only knew that they were emo and peripherally related to my channel. Likewise, I didn't watch or know anything about Eugenia, only that she was an emo YouTuber. Once I realized why people were talking about Eugenia, I never used her name in a meta tag again. Eugenia was never a trend, and I wouldn't use drama around more popular creators to glean views, unlike some orange-haired hypocrites. Maybe it's because I cared about Eugenia and didn't want her to die, and the effect she was having on young vulnerable viewers who used her as thinspo. Hot take.
So this girlfriend Mr. Owl had was
Barnaby's girlfriend.
Freya then went back to New Zealand and, filming it on YouTube, went to Barnaby's doorstep to ask him to get back together. Somehow that worked, which of course meant the girlfriend getting dumped by Barnaby.
This is such bullshit, guys. A few points about Barnaby's girlfriend. Let's nickname her Bluey for her hair. 1. She pursued him. She was also not his first girlfriend after our split.
I could not find proof or was provided proof of Freya directly harassing the new girlfriend online.
You can't find anything because I never did harass her online or otherwise. 3. She thinks I poisoned Germany against her. I didn't. I barely know her. I have no ill will towards her whatsoever. She has her own issues, which are absolutely not my place to talk about. 4. When I first met her, she had makeup and hair almost exactly like mine. Like, I felt like I was at a party with myself. When she started seeing Barnaby and was apparently wanting to start a YouTube channel, I did think, this girl wants to be me. 5. Others also thought this, apparently, so while they were together she made efforts to look and be a lot less like me. 6. She dumped him right before Christmas. It was Christmas Day that Barnaby contacted me. He came back to me. 7. We were already unofficially back together before I turned up to surprise him. 2 months later, she had moved to the other side of the country. 8. I didn't know until just now that my mum was bullying Bluey online, but this surprises me not at all. My mum would send me photos of Bluey telling me how beautiful she was compared to me. This just in, my mum's a bitch. 9. Please leave Bluey in peace. We have all long since moved on with our lives.
The choice to represent Kat Von D, I think, was interesting. She's also anti-vax.
Kat Von D. When Kat Barnaby
provided proof of Freya directly harassing the new girlfriend online.
You can't find anything because I never did harass her online or otherwise. 3. She thinks I poisoned Germany against her. I didn't. I barely know her. I have no ill will towards her whatsoever. She has her own issues, which are absolutely not my place to talk about. 4. When I first met her, she had makeup and hair almost exactly like mine. Like, I felt like I was at a party with myself. When she started seeing Barnaby and was apparently wanting to start a YouTube channel, I did think, this girl wants to be me. 5. Others also thought this, apparently, so while they were together she made efforts to look and be a lot less like me. 6. She dumped him right before Christmas. It was Christmas Day that Barnaby contacted me. He came back to me. 7. We were already unofficially back together before I turned up to surprise him. 2 months later, she had moved to the other side of the country. 8. I didn't know until just now that my mum was bullying Bluey online, but this surprises me not at all. My mum would send me photos of Bluey telling me how beautiful she was compared to me. This just in, my mum's a bitch. 9. Please leave Bluey in peace. We have all long since moved on with our lives.
The choice to represent Kat Von D, I think, was interesting. She's also anti-vax.
Kat Von D. When Kat Von D brought me to her party in LA, which was wonderful, she was still pregnant. Everyone loved her. It was only later, after she had her baby, that she revealed she was anti-vax and all the other drama came out. I had filmed a whole gold makeup look using her 10-year anniversary makeup collection, which was all gold. But when the controversy came out, I didn't post the video. If you must know, I am fully vaccinated and all my children are fully vaccinated. This big one that she went on and on and on about. My skin whitening tutorials that I never made.
This is a video where she shows us a formula she made that is meant to, of course, lighten your skin tone.
No, it isn't.
Racist undertones here. Promote skin lightening. The racist racism.
So I am a massive racist, obviously. And all the non-Caucasian people in my life who I love or grew up with, I'm sure can vouch for that because I vomit every single time I see them. For those of you who don't get sarcasm, that was sarcasm.
You can better conform to goth and alternative Eurocentric beauty standards.
I have said repeatedly that goth has nothing to do with skin color, that you don't need to be white or pale.
Freya does trad goth makeup specifically, which involves a completely white foundation.
No, a trad goth look does not require white face paint. I've actually scripted an entire video on the subject that I haven't shot yet, and I have probably said 1,000 times, yes, I'm a ginger, I have a lot of freckles, I do not want them. Here is an old photo of me. Your skin is yours to do whatever you want with. I will do whatever I want with my own pheomelanin, thank you very much. People have melasma, uneven skin tone they want correcting, tan lines. That is a recipe for a nice sugar scrub, with the option of adding lemon and parsley if you want to even out skin tone. So racist. I have never told anyone they need to be paler, not even in that video.
Drama with another online personality named Violet Vixen, and my source is claiming that Freya was refusing to just say Black Lives Matter. If we assume that Violet was just trying to educate her and Freya claimed that she was being harassed and publicly called out by Violet, Freya looks at criticism as harassment.
I do not look at criticism as harassment. I look at bullying as bullying, and this random chick was bullying me, along with 1 or 2 friends of hers. I guess she's a bit like you. She just wanted to take me down for fun or something. She sent me a screenshot of a fake conversation between me and some business or something called Madam. It didn't even sound like me. I think she was the same chick who tried to take down Emily Autumn by proving that she was a racist, which is something that someone can't really prove that they aren't. She couldn't find proof that I'd actually said or done anything racist, so she had to make something up. I know I screenshotted the conversation. God knows where that is now. It was 5 years ago. I've been looking for it. I scrolled through over 5 years of Instagram messages to find that conversation. She's long gone, so it looks like this now. But I told her what I'm about to tell you. Put your hateful energy into attacking someone who is actually a problem. Of course, Black Lives Matter. Duh. I've never felt the need to tell my followers not to be racist because I assume they already know that. I don't need to point out, hey guys, I'm not a racist. I prefer to just go about my life not being one. A wise man once said, I have a dream that my children will one day live in a nation where they are not judged by the colour of their skin, but by the content of their character. I too believe in judging the individual. Whatever colour you are, if you're a good person, you're a good person. Let's be friends. Likewise, a bully is a bully, and I do not tolerate bullying.
Freya's best friend and bandmate had tragically taken his life.
Why did you keep bringing up my mate's death? Why? Is it so you can pretend to be an empathetic and caring person?
So what's going on with the pets?
My pets! You can pause to read this drivel if you want. That is not even close to the truth. It's f***ing appalling. When I was away for short periods, I would take the cats to a very nice cattery and the birds to a local vet clinic. But when I had to leave Germany and move out of my flat, obviously that was different. I didn't know if I would be moving to the UK, getting a new German visa, returning to New Zealand, or how long I wouldn't be there. My black rescue cat, Thanatos, was rehomed with my friend Martin, who has been amazing with him. Thanatos is still thriving. The Budgies were rehomed with a lady called Amanda. We agreed I'd take them back if I was going to move back to Germany, but otherwise they were hers. Moon, the cat I loved enough to save up thousands of dollars to fly from New Zealand to Germany to be with me. God, I've explained this so many times. A friend of mine offered to take her in. She had lots of cats. She cares deeply about animals. She had a house beautifully set up for cats, including a patio. I trusted her and I knew Moon would be safe and loved with her. And I would pick her up when I had a long-term living arrangement sorted. You can't just fly around the world with a cat, by the way. Oh, and Moon was a girl. I went home to New Zealand and I only intended to be there for a few months, but then COVID happened. International borders were closed. Germany closed its borders. No one was allowed in or out of New Zealand. Has everyone forgotten that this happened? It was a full 3 years before travel restrictions eased up. During COVID, my friend messaged to tell me Moon had passed away. I rang her and we cried over the phone together. I was devastated then and I still am now. Let me show you something. On our wall is this beautiful drawing of Moon. Yes, that's a drawing that some wonderful friends online put together to have made and framed for me. It's very big. The artist is amazing. Look, like she captured her. Moon had a heart murmur and was never going to live to be old. So no, for the nth time, I did not abandon my pets. I rehomed them. I am so tired of talking about this. This video was shot in New Zealand during a short trip there. And then I went back to Germany and the animals were still with me when I was clearing out my flat. You can hear the birds in the background. Then I was over in Scotland for a bit to store my stuff there, then back to New Zealand, and then COVID. I loved them. I made sure they were safe. Pets are family, and this is disgusting. F*** you all the way to the sun and back.
Freya's most recent alleged scamming scandal. Freya wanted an all-expenses-paid trip to Wave Gothic Treffen.
My documentary. Alright, you daft bint. I am not, and never have been, a scammer. Why the hell would I compromise my entire career, all my friends, my entire following, just for a bit of money and partying? Also, wanting to show the beauty of goth and different ethnicities and cultures clearly backs up how racist I am.
Freya went to the festival and did some shaky filming on her phone to keep the backers fooled.
I laughed out loud when I read this. Shaky footage on my phone to keep up the pretense. Oh, you mean the hundreds of gigabytes of footage I shot on this cinema camera? I did zero partying, by the way. I went to these events not to go to the event, but to document the people at it. Duh.
You could have left your precious son back in New Zealand with his dad and sister and
I brought my son because I was going to be away for a long time. He was still breastfeeding. He was only 1 and needed mummy. And Barnaby could not have looked after both children on his own.
the habit of asking anyone on Facebook who will listen to babysit her child for free. Tried to leave her baby boy with strangers in different countries so that she could party.
I can see how people misconstrued the babysitter thing. So in order to film Mariluna, I drove all the way from Glasgow and Scotland to Hildesheim, Germany in one go, pausing to sleep for 2 hours in Dover. I got filming accreditation for Mariluna, one of only 2 people granted this permission. I was on crutches. The trip cost a lot. Mariluna does not allow children at the site. I organised a nice babysitter in Hildesheim via an agency, which had already been difficult, and at the last minute she had to pull out and I was panicking. Without a sitter, the entire journey was for nothing, wasting funders' money. I asked online if anyone knew a babysitter while I flailed about with agencies searching for a replacement. I was not going to fob him off with a stranger. I was looking for an experienced, verifiable, vouched for proper babysitter, not just any random who was available. My son and all my children are the most important thing in the universe to me. I would literally die to save them. No way on God's green earth would I hand them over to someone if I had a flicker of doubt. I did find a great babysitter, 2 actually. It cost me about 600 euros. They sent me photo updates throughout the day. One was an early childhood education student, the other a retired doctor close to my accommodation. This is all bullshit. The only other sitter my son had in the entire 5 months we were away was a friend of mine from Wellington who was living in London, and she had him overnight so I could film at Slimelight. Thank you again, Jeffa.
The stream where she was getting paid to take liquor shots while her baby was crying in the background and people in the chat were literally begging her to go tend to him.
I feel like this didn't happen. If my wee man was crying, I would not have just left him crying. I did drink and stream sometimes. I think someone watching started the "I'll give you a $5 if you take a shot of that" thing. It was a bit of fun because that gin is horrible neat and makes you go I've never actually been drunk in a stream, and I wouldn't get drunk if I was alone with my baby. I actually found the stream and the bit you're talking about, and guess what? That didn't happen. Okay, hang on, just give me 2 seconds. I'm just gonna try and relax Monty. He's just woken up. He screams his head off every time he wakes up, so 1 moment, please. Oh man. Just for the sake of spite, I might do a gin o'clock stream next week. And this gin is nice to drink neat. Cheers. As for my fake documentary scam, I recently shared a sample reel on social media. I've kept that reel unlisted in order to not compromise entry into future film competitions. But bugger it, if you need proof, I will publish it publicly so you can see a tiny sample of what I did. I am currently trying to get funding or any further help to continue with the film. Yes, it's real, and I don't want to do it on my own. I want crew and helpers, but I want to be able to pay them. I busted my ass in 2024 on that project. 2025 was a total write-off owing to troubles with my mother, a house, miscarriages, Severine being ill a lot, my being pregnant and my being in hospital a lot. Obviously, since having a baby and 2 toddlers, I've had no time to do anything else. I've picked up the film again and it's moving ahead. I have said multiple times that it's going to take longer than I hoped.
Calling the people who helped finance your supposed documentary bitches and telling them to f*** off.
I wasn't calling the supporters bitches or telling them to f*** off.
I also joined the campaign and stupidly gave her money and was called a cunt amongst other things.
This person is lying. He is not a supporter. His name is not among the list of backers. He antagonizes me on Facebook all the time. I probably did call him a stupid cunt because he was being one. Supporters all got access to a Discord group where they can see what I'm doing. I've taken pains to make sure every single person got a functional invite link so that people not seeing anything or hassling me presumably hadn't been supporters.
So we know at the very least that some work was done in the last couple of years. We don't know when.
The people in the Discord know because I told them as I was doing the work.
Deleting comments, which she tends to do when met with criticism.
And I don't delete comments on social media unless they're spamming or being overly inflammatory.
Her child went through a major surgery right before the time she left for WGT. Why aren't you on the first plane home to your daughter who was bleeding out? Your daughter is recovering from throat surgery, and you chose to travel and party instead of being there for her?
Severine's surgery. I'll touch on this because you got that wrong too. I took Severine in for her surgery. We were at the hospital all morning. I wanted to be with her. It got cancelled suddenly and postponed to an unknown date months later. It was a very minor surgery. Adenoidectomy, grommets put in, and maybe some tissue adjusted at the back of her throat. Barnaby took her in for it long after I'd gone overseas. I was on the video phone while they put her to sleep. It all went fine. During healing, she developed a cold. The coughing caused the surgical site to tear in her sleep. Barnaby went to get her up, immediately called an ambulance when he saw blood, and then called me. And I was on speaker on video phone at the hospital so I could talk to all the doctors and nurses and see what was happening. They kept assuring me she was okay, that I needn't worry, but I was losing my mind. She was awake and lucid and hadn't actually lost much blood despite how bad it looked. Do you honestly think I didn't care? I was beside myself. I couldn't sleep. That's my baby. If I'd flown back to New Zealand, it would have taken days, cost thousands of dollars, and made zero difference. Doctors told me repeatedly that she was okay. Oh, and she was able to go home the same day. Nothing further needed doing, and it healed up on its own. Her breathing issue has greatly improved, by the way.
MAGA mommy. Dear old Karen. Karen is kind of deranged and harasses people online. Her mom made many lives a living hell, including mine. She's a toxic woman, and I wish I never came in contact with her.
Let's talk about my mother. I no longer speak to my mother, and I never will again. We made the necessary decision to cut her from our lives. She has not met our new baby and never will. She has no access to our children. It's a heavy subject, so I'll keep it brief here and expound on it further for Patreon perhaps. We bought a house together with her at the end of 2024. I did not want to do it. She's not used to living with others, but she was determined to do it. She insisted it would be fine. It wasn't. 6 months. She lived with us. It was so awful that after only 6 months we packed our stuff and legged it to a rental house where I currently am. If you look up literally anything about a narcissistic parent, that describes her with uncanny accuracy. I had to get the children away from that toxic environment. She has always told the world that I'm her shining star and she couldn't be more proud of me, but the way she treated me behind closed doors was not that at all. Long story short, I had to report her to the police family harm unit. One more incident and a protection notice was going to be issued to her. She does not know this. There was so much that was so bad in that 6-month period, I wouldn't even know where to begin recounting it. I have hours of audio recordings to evidence all the screaming, lying, extreme gaslighting, emotional abuse, endless criticism, threats, and violent outbursts. She's always been a small doses person, but in recent years, something has changed, and I don't know what. She would sit there all day scrolling reels and watching videos about Trump and America and started believing all these crazy conspiracy theories. The sound of these videos just humming along in the background. She's never even been to America, yet believes she has all this insider knowledge. I haven't spoken to her since like June or July last year. She sold that house. Barnaby lost loads of money. We decided we'd rather be paying rent and be broke than be that miserable. She will probably watch this and call it slander or libel, but it isn't slander or libel if it's true, Karen, which it is. And it is devastating because I want a mother and I wish she were different. Sorry. Where do you go for comfort when the cruelty is coming from the person you're supposed to be giving you comfort? I'm glad I take after my dad. She'd send nasty messages to people in my life, attack people in my video comments. She is a poisonous, crazy bitch, and I finally got the balls to tell her so. So, dear haters, lolcows, Riley, I'm sorry, but I'm not the monster you want me to be. I'm just not that interesting. I am far from perfect, and I know that. I have flaws, I'm aware of them, I work on them. There are definitely things I should have done better. My only crime is my weapons-grade ADHD, and I'm not exaggerating, by the way, that has all but ruined my life. Imagine the worst case you possibly can, and one might say ADHD isn't an excuse, but it's a pretty good reason for every dumb thing I've ever done. I am always trying to do too much by myself with no help, which naturally leads to f**k-ups. 99% of the time, everything is grand, but shit happens. My t-shirt shop, for example. There's been a few times that orders have been placed and not automatically actioned, and I haven't realized until the customer emails me and says, hey, where's my order? Things fall through the cracks. I would never screw anyone over on purpose. The person who gets the most screwed over by me is me. If anyone has any issues like that, like if I was meant to send you something and haven't, please for God's sake email me and let me know so I can rectify it. And if I don't do it right away, nag me. I have a head like a sieve with holes in it. I need a manager or an assistant, but I don't have the budget for one. As for Miss Riley, I think chasing clout and views by shitting on others is a pathetic premise for a YouTube channel. Spending hours dredging up old and long-resolved drama. People who aren't even online anymore. What a sad existence. How miserable must you be? Is it to make yourself feel superior? Does stepping on someone you consider high make you feel higher than them? Like I've said to bullies before, if you have this much free time and energy, put it into something that actually matters, something positive. Maybe create some original content of your own, if you can. Go after some actual bad guys, instead of trying to make yourself feel like a polyperfect cleverclogs. Believing the sort of crap you've read about me on lolcows is no better than my mum believing conspiracy theories. Some random YouTuber said it, so it must be true. I hadn't heard it before, so it must be some arcane secret. Judging by the enormous wall of expensive weeaboo junk behind you, I'm going to assume you come from a position of privilege. I'm not going to research you because I don't care. Maybe you don't understand what it's like to struggle, to labor, to take risks, try, fail, have ambition, to need to work towards a better life. I was a weeaboo back when it was still lame, so hear this. 悪は新しいものを何一つ作ることができない。悪にできるのは良きものの力によってすでに作られたものをただ歪めねじ曲げることだけだ。なんて哀れなんだ。Get a life. I'm going to carry on with mine, encouraging people to express themselves, creating a welcoming online space for all kinds of people, and spreading positivity amongst those who need it. My final words to you, since we are digging up old shit from the internet. Bye, Felicia.
I think we just got put in our place.
Yeah, we just got golf served.
I remember when this yaoi first came out because everybody was so excited that there was going to be a chubby.
Listen to that after though. I need to wash the clothes real quick. Okay. Where is the other? I don't know where anything is because my closet's fucking mess. Okay, I never opened up the wig, but... I don't know where I got the scissors, now that I'm thinking about it. You gotta be fucking kidding me, dude. Where the fuck? Fucking damn. Down in. Gotta grab some nickels. random fucking shit getting in the way. Let me find... We'll watch this. Does she have longer videos? No, they're like 10 to 15 minute shit. Okay, maybe not. Is there nothing interesting?
There is literally nothing funnier than...
Oh my god, I fucking hate that shit.
I love you, Tony.
Okay. Featuring Wendigoon. Can already hear his voice. What? That is so weird. Okay, we're gonna listen to Frankie Faye.
And I can't wait until the day I die, when I and finally be with you. When I'm awarded in heaven with the love of my life. Tony, I can't tell you how many times I watched this video already, and how many more I will, just to see your sinewy body moving like that. I need that body on top of me, and in me. And I need to feel you now.
What you just heard was a comment on a YouTube video about Tony the Tiger. Because today's video is about the time when furries waged sexual warfare on one of America's most beloved cereal brands, Kellogg's Frosted Flakes. What I'm saying is, beginning in 2014, for seemingly no reason at all, hundreds of furries on Twitter began leaving incredibly X-rated replies under every tweet made by the Tony the Tiger brand account, eventually becoming such a PR nightmare for Kellogg's that the brand was forced to directly acknowledge the furry community and beg them to stop. But they refused. And no matter what Frosted Flakes did, stop using the original Twitter account, post under allegedly a different one, rebrand Tony the Tiger as a streamer on a completely different website, furries just kept making sexual fan art of him anyway. So much, in fact, that they eventually chased Tony off the internet for good. But how could this happen? What made this campaign so successful? Did it have anything to do with the crack? And what were these furries posting that was so bad that Kellogg's couldn't simply ignore them? All this and more on today's edition of Bad Art History. Part 1. The West. The year was 2013, and something bizarre was happening to Western civilization. Brands were people now, but not just any people. They were specifically people who use Twitter. And what I mean by this is that in the 2010s, it was becoming incredibly common to see companies of all kinds set up a quirky internet presence.
How do you do, fellow kids?
Like that. And Frosted Flakes, the sugar cereal marketed to children, was no exception. So like every other brand was doing that year, Kellogg's set up an in-character Twitter account for their mascot, Tony the Tiger. Cool. Literally everybody was doing this, but nobody was getting endless sexual replies to their tweets, quite like Tony was. But to understand why, we have to go to the very beginning. And this is where I have to stress, for anyone who doesn't know this, Tony is a tall, broad-shouldered, athletic tiger. By itself, not an issue. The issue, and I know someone is going to accuse me of victim blaming, but like, hold on. Wait until you see what I'm about to show you. The issue is that Tony was tweeting artwork that looked like this. And this caught the attention of all the wrong people. 1 year passes. It is July 25th of 2014. 1 a.m. Somewhere, some furry awakes from a dead sleep with only one thing on his mind. The rippling physique of serial mascot, Tony the Tiger. I have to do something about this, he probably thought. And that was when he tweeted, "Can we get a nude for all the furries out there? At Real Tony Tiger." The furry stank bomb had officially been lit. Sensing the presence of furry pheromones on Tony's account, other furries online began to spread the word. And slowly, like some kind of evil, horny mold, the comments in Tony's replies quickly multiplied completely out of control and choked the life out of his tweets. They were filling his entire comment section with erotic furry roleplay. Now, it's very important for you to understand that tweets and the content of the tweets aside, this actually began as an in-joke. It's just that you would never get that impression if you found out about this incident through one of the 22 articles plus that came out about the story in the online press. But we're not quite there yet, so fast forward. Summer 2015. The horny Twitter replies are not just multiplying, they're getting descriptive. Pleas from crazed fans for Tony to spank them, punish them, tie them up, to a litany of things that I can't read out loud, so here they are on the screen. One guy even specifically requested that a foam finger be involved. Needless to say, the word was out. Tony the Tiger was hot to some furries in a less than serious way, and apparently, you could tweet the freakiest imaginable thing at him and completely get away with it. But behind every joke is a grain of truth, and whether you feel that this trolling was deserved or right or wrong or whatever the case may be, the fact is, Tony the Tiger just kind of looks like furry art. Like, he just does. And it really does suck, but it is very unlikely that Frosted Flakes HQ had any idea whatsoever that tweeting images like this invites the people who like this. By October 2015, the crazed replies had reached a fever pitch. It was a marketing disaster, and by now, one that hundreds of people were aware of. But before Kellogg's could even think about addressing this, they would have a completely unrelated PR disaster that would actually set the stage for their next viral blunder. You want to know something about a blunder? This is my genuine, unironic, 100% grass-fed, actual, in real-life chair that I've been using for 3 years. I have never been more in need of a gamer chair, like specifically one that does not cause me agonizing back pain after several hours, than I am right now, which is why I am thrilled to announce that today's video is sponsored by FlexiSpot. The FlexiSpot C7 Max is an incredible upgrade that is comfortable and reliable. Everything about the C7 Max can be adjusted to your needs, whether it's the headrest, the height of the seat back, the 5D rotating armrests, which I personally love. All of it. Plus, the C7 Max offers incredible lower back support. The lumbar support focuses on supporting your sacrum, which means that actually both parts of your back are supported for maximum comfort. The C7 Max has you covered. It has a 0.2-inch latex seat cushion for 12 hours of comfortable sitting. I've been using this chair for about 2 weeks now while writing and editing this video, and I am getting so much more done, and I am so much more comfortable, and my mid-back doesn't hurt at the end of the day, and I can sleep easy knowing that FlexiSpot offers a 30-day return policy for a risk-free trial, and a 10-year warranty with direct replacement for any damaged parts. So use my code C750 to get $50 off right now. Plus, they have options for any need and any budget. FlexiSpot actually just came out with their new C7 Morpher chair with completely upgraded lumbar support and an upper backrest. Or if you're on a budget, I would highly recommend the C5 chair as well. But like I said, they really do have tons of options. Use my code C750 to get $50 off right now. Thank you so much to FlexiSpot for sponsoring this video, and back to Tony. On October 7th, the first of 3 satire ads were uploaded to YouTube by a very evil Finnish man, who we will cover just a bit later. Titled Tony is Back, these were highly produced commercials that featured Tony encouraging people to go on and achieve their dreams, something he is known to do. Here, though, the dreams were a bit of prostitution, police brutality, and exploding vests.
It's all yours, Tiger.
This understandably went viral, it made Kellogg's very angry, and more importantly, it drew completely unnecessary public attention to Tony the Tiger. Now, it's not even 2 days later, on October 9th, when an article comes out in Esquire detailing how Kellogg's got just epically pwned by these fake ads.
Oh no, Tony. We'll do just fine after this complete breakfast, including my vitamin-packed frosted flakes.
All the sexting in Tony's replies meant that he was being name-dropped a great deal more than usual. He was already in the news cycle because of the Tony is Back series, and what's more, the amount of adult, furry Tony the Tiger fan art is exploding beyond measure. And on November 3rd, something shifts. An internet passerby, not a furry, just some guy on Twitter, he notices this Tony drama and he tweets about it. His tweet blows up and now thousands of other people notice too. Word travels and then the furry stank bomb explodes. On November 4th, an article comes out on Gawker.com titled, "Tony the Tiger Can't Tweet Without Furries Begging Him for Sex." Filed under furries, it's a brief account of the ongoing harassment. Now, 2015 was a really big year for furries on the internet. They were frequently the subject of rumors and misunderstandings and cringe compilations, and rarely did they get positive press. So this was pretty bad, and it was only getting worse for everyone involved. Because not even a day later, 4 more articles, inspired by that Gawker piece, I guess, came out and basically restated the same thing to their 4 new audiences. But Tony wouldn't crack so easily. Yes, this was strange and embarrassing for the brand, but he took the high road. He didn't acknowledge, he didn't reply, he just kept tweeting. Surely, they would get bored. 82 days pass. It was now January 25th of the following year, 2016, and the furry replies had not abated. Tony's comment section was as good as colonized, and all this set the stage for the darkest hour in Frosted Flakes history. Part 2. Hashtag Tony Tigergate. January 26th was a life-changing day for furries and for corporate America, so naturally, Frosted Flakes was going to be most affected. And be warned, this is like the most normal event that is ever going to happen in the story again. January 26th, 2016, a Friday morning, Pizza Hut logs onto their brand Twitter. Watch this, they thought. Everyone's gonna love this tweet. And they tweeted the following: not first, or pizza first. Okay, why is this relevant? Remember, there was currently blood in the water, what with this ongoing harassment campaign against Tony. A tiny minority of furries was already pretty emboldened, knowing that they could troll a brand on end for weeks without any consequence. So of course, they would notice the next time that a brand, accidentally or not, referenced them. Well, in this tweet, Pizza Hut is obviously making reference to garlic knots. Yes. Garlic knots are like a food item. Yet, within the adult side of the furry community, knot means something entirely different. And I really don't want to say what it is, so I will let this person explain it.
Knotting is a term that refers to, in biology, the male canine has, when they're aroused, there is a knot formed at the base of the penis so that the sperm will stay inside of the orifice. And that is commonly used by furries. I hope I haven't explained that terribly.
There was obviously no chance in hell that Pizza Hut knowingly did a wink and nod to horny furries on Twitter on the off chance that they would get some good publicity, right? Obviously not. It's just that there was, again, blood in the water because Tony was still ignoring the bleed. Until now. It was 1:30 p.m. when Tony had seen enough. The horrors of internet degeneracy had broken his spirit. And that was when the team behind his account probably said, you know what? Fuck y'all. And started blocking just absolutely anyone and everyone. Tony didn't just block the furries who left those lewd replies. He was out for the kill. Tony blocked every person who liked those tweets, who interacted with them positively or negatively, all the accounts that interacted with those people, anyone who even looked like they might be a furry, and allegedly, even a few people who were completely uninvolved but had, like, an animal-themed username. But if what Tony sought by this was to lose the attention of the horny furries, he did the complete opposite. 1:57 p.m. A great noticing sweeps the furry community. But they weren't too worried. First of all, it's not like Tony could block absolutely everybody. Plus, Tony was probably savvy enough to understand that it was only a vanishing minority of furries actually harassing him. For example, says one, hey guys, look, I'm still not blocked by @RealTonyTiger, #blessed. Immediately blocked. Even mentioning Tony's name got you blocked. And from that moment on, any goodwill that Tony had left with the online furry fandom was destroyed. Embittered by this rejection, furries created an awareness movement, and they called it #TonyTigerGate. And through the lethal combination of Tony already being in the news and getting constantly name-dropped on Twitter, the hashtag trended almost right away, because it had now become a status symbol to be blocked by Daddy Tony. But Tony wasn't the only anthropomorphic seed oil cat on Twitter that day. 3:46 p.m. @ChesterCheetah tweets, quote, I welcome all fans to my Twitter feed, scales, feathers, or fur. If you enjoy my tweets, then welcome.
This is when shit was so
Word about the mass sexual harassment of Tony the Tiger had spread so far that another brand entirely was now cashing in on it. Furries in the comments section could not believe their luck. Cheetos was directly pandering to them. And the comments are elated, reading things like, bless you for being inclusive, and Tony the Tiger has forsaken us, all hail ChesterCheetah, and enjoy the Rule 34.
So fucking short.
Let's look at this in context. If you don't know, Chester Cheetah is the cool guy mascot for Cheetos, a brand of chips. Cheetos marketing is overall edgier than that of Frosted Flakes, and this is absolutely reflected in the mascots themselves. Tony is more like Superman. Chester is closer to Snoop Dogg.
I'm just a cheetah. I'm just a cool dude in a loose mood.
And in keeping with this, Chester Cheetah did the cool guy thing and leaned in to the sudden furry attention. He even responded to thirst comments. And on January 26, 2016, this entire sequence of events, furries attacking Pizza Hut and forcing them to delete their tweet, all because they used the word not, Tony finally setting a boundary and mass blocking his tormentors, which angered them so much that they made the hashtag TonyTigerGate go viral. And finally, the Chester Cheetah brand account swooping in to win over those heartbroken furries. All of this was more than enough to go worldwide. I'm being dramatic, but basically some European guy noticed all this stuff was happening and compiled it into one incredible tweet. Or as far as Tony the Tiger was concerned, day one of PR hell. January 27th, 2016, the next day. Somewhere deep in a Twitter replies section, the topic of Pizza Hut comes up. A scorned furry says they would never eat at that place. They would much rather Domino's. To which @Domino's UK responded, "Oh, you're making us blush." Same day, different comment section. Applebee's is also positively responding to furries who are indirectly making reference to Tony Tigergate. There is seemingly no corner of corporate America untouched by the incident surrounding Tony the Tiger. And that was when the second wave of news coverage swept the internet. Tony the Tiger turns his back on Twitter's horny furries, writes Gawker. Tony the Tiger is really not into all these furries asking him for sex, reports the Huffington Post. Along with MTV, The Guardian, New York Daily News, BuzzFeed, and a smattering of smaller publications. Am I saying that this was a well-known story in the true mainstream press? No. But consider the circumstances. This was a bit of internet tomfoolery happening back in 2015. Back when a video was considered to be viral if 1 million or so people saw it. So between the then viral success of Tony is Back and this whole disaster, this was a big story. This is a mind-blowing amount of press coverage over some Twitter furry drama. Like, that part I truly cannot stress enough. And that was when Kellogg's officially went on the record. Only no one noticed or cared because they did it at 9 in the morning via a statement provided to BuzzFeed. Most of the other articles I mentioned came out well after the statement had been made. It made not a lick of difference. Nevertheless, here's what they said. Quote, Kellogg's provided BuzzFeed News with a statement about the blocking of all the furries. As a company grounded in the values of integrity and respect, we recognize people's right to creative expression, but we reserve the right to block individuals who post offensive content, a spokesperson said. To no avail. And after this second maelstrom of media attention, Tony had finally had enough for real. 9:18 p.m. The Tiger issues a plea. Quote, I'm all for showing your stripes, feathers, etc. But let's keep things great and family friendly, if you could. Cubs could be watching. Smile emoji. That tweet, too, was thoroughly vandalized with sexual replies. By February 6th, 8 days later, everyone from Yahoo to The Daily Show would investigate the baffling case of Tony the Tiger. Also, fun thing about The Daily Show, that segment never actually materialized. But if it did, it wouldn't even be their first segment on furries.
I love that this dude has to pretend like he doesn't know what furries are.
And here is where most videos and articles about this story kind of just stop. which is weird because it is not like the harassment stopped or the fan art stopped. You know, maybe people got bored of talking about it, but by no means did the story actually end here. And before I tell you the other half of this, let's pause for a second and just ask ourselves one thing. Why did this happen? Why Tony specifically? Well, sometimes the answer to a question is contained in its opposite. So ask yourself this. If I were Tony the Tiger, what is the last thing I would be doing? Part 3. Tony the Tiger cooking crack. You can learn a lot about a character by the fan art that people make of him. And this is a bad art history video after all, so let's do some fan art forensics and see what we learn. The thing about Tony is that his story was at once very easy and very hard to research. Hard part first. Most of the coverage about this incident, articles, blogs, furry YouTuber reactions, most of it says about the same thing, so digging up the other information to make this mystery make a little more sense was not exactly straightforward. But the easy part pertains to Tony fan art. Because while there's not a lot of Tony art online, what there is very informative. For example, Tony the Tiger is by far the most illustrated serial mascot on furry art websites. It's information like that that makes it easier to analyze patterns. And there was kind of a pattern. So let's return to that initial PR nightmare mentioned earlier. Tony is back. To recap, on October 7th of 2015, the Finnish artist Jani Leinonen uploaded the first of 3 satire Frosted Flakes ads. These mirrored the production quality of any real Frosted Flakes ad that you'd see, but with R-rated themes.
After this complete breakfast, including my vitamin-packed Frosted Flakes, they bring out the tiger in you. Hit her, tiger!
This doubtless got Kellogg's attention, and it resulted in the temporary shutting down of the artist's social media pages. On October 12th, Leinonen uploaded a final installment that weaved all of those narratives together. Titled, Help Me, the video prompts viewers to visit tonyisback.com to help Kellogg's act more responsibly as a brand.
Tony is confused, like the kids he used to help. Now is your chance to help Tony out. Go to our website and tell us how Tony and Kellogg's can act more responsibly.
It goes without saying, Kellogg's found this annoying and probably tasteless, and unfortunately for them, 1 million+ views back in 2015 meant potentially measurable brand damage. At least, they felt compelled enough to actually make a statement. But okay, you might be skeptical that these troll ads actually fall under the umbrella of fan art, so how about another classic? The infamous Tony the Tiger cooking crack. At least, that's how I and quite a few other people seem to remember it, but that's not actually him. It's just a buff tiger with pecs and obvious masculine appeal to a certain furry audience. Yeah. This image is widely attributed to Tony in the memes, and the timing is not surprising either. This was originally titled Tiger Chef, and it was uploaded on September 23rd of 2016. 2016, of course, being the year of #TonyTigerGate. You can see how these two got conflated. Quick word on the artist of this, by the way. This illustration was created by someone named Tacklebox, who was a well-known digital artist within the adult furry space. He no longer has an internet presence due to some extremely troubling allegations that are outside the scope of this video. That's all I'm gonna say on that, but it felt worth mentioning. Anyway, why did I just spend the last 3 minutes telling you about fan art that was not actually of Tony? Well, because that is the overall pattern. Tony Tiger fan art, or whatever just gets attributed to him for some reason, almost exclusively depicts Tony doing very un-Tony-like things. The fact is, there's just not a lot of art of this guy. The only interest in him seems to be completely sexual. The absolute minority of fan art of this guy is like the normal stuff. That is really... that sucks. E621, the adult furry art site, contains 977 results for Tony the Tiger. There's even a meme in here tagged with Tony the Tiger that was made as a response contemporaneously to Tony Tigergate. Point being, there's a lot of sincere thirst for Tony the Tiger. Very little in the way of normal artwork and in the way of human compassion. If Tony was a real person, this would be a clear case of objectification. Now obviously, the existence of adult Tony fan art on the web does not mean that the Tony Tiger brand account deserved this treatment. The person or people running this account are human beings with jobs. They are certainly not the people who invented the concept of sugar cereal, let alone are the ones putting the spoon in the kid's mouth. So I'm not saying that anyone had anything coming. It just happens that the overall type of Tony art you see online would be a huge flag for a very, very online person. Not a normal person, and certainly not someone working for the marketing department of Frosted Flakes in 2015. And with our fan art forensics done, let's get to the second act of Tony the Tiger. Part 4. Gang stalking.
Oh god.
Okay, let's talk about jokes for a minute. Just a minute. Because I really gotta reiterate something. To clarify, furries on the whole do not take themselves very seriously like most of the time. Most furries are aware that the internet is not real life. Therefore, sometimes they say things online that would be considered extreme IRL. Maybe some furries do it a little too often. But in 2015, the average online onlooker just wouldn't know that. So during those first two press waves, November 2015 and January 2016, this kind of nuance was like the first thing to get lost. If you were one of the hundreds of people who learned online about the Tony incident through the articles or the memes, and there were a lot of memes, you'd probably get the impression that furries were sex trades maniacs. Not that 99% of these replies, however inappropriate, were unserious. But that's not as scandalous and that doesn't sell. So what you get instead are articles framing this as kind of like a coordinated mass sex attack by billions of furries, as opposed to like 100 people tops.
Yeah.
With that said,
It's really not that big of a deal.
the rest of the story. January 13th of 2017. Interest is again stoked in the Tony case when the YouTuber Internet Historian drops his video on the subject to immense viewership. Titled The Downfall of Tony the Tiger, it has around 6.5 million views, and while it does actually explicitly state that this was mostly a joke, few seem to remember it that way. And I'm someone who's very online, and that was absolutely the way that I remembered it. That this was people being deadly serious. I think that's just the story that people wanted to hear. And what's more, even if this was all a hee-hee funny epic prank, why on earth would Kellogg's care the difference? Their brand page was getting vandalized with graphic comments. If Tony was a guy, this would be gang stalking. And in any case, the harassment wasn't even over yet. On August 24th of 2017, Tony makes the mistake of tweeting again. Underneath his promoted tweet about cinnamon frosted flakes, someone makes the random drive-by comment, "I'd fuck that tiger." In the ensuing third wave of press, one article alleges that the guy who tweeted that actually had no knowledge of Tony Tigergate, just that he thought it would be a funny thing to say in the replies to a promoted tweet, because he found the concept of promoted tweets kind of annoying. Nevertheless, he got suspended. He complained, and unknowingly, he reenacted the Tony Tigergate cycle all over again. 6 more articles come out, breathing oxygen back into Tony Tigergate, only this time, they connected it to Zootopia. One of them was a completely real Fox News article that looks like this.
The breakfast cereal icon, as they put it, can't tweet without furries begging him for sex. For example, one admirer stated, I'll lick the cat hair off. Let me wash that for you. Oops, your sweater came off. Right, Joanne?
And I just feel bad for the poor kid right out of college who's in charge of this Twitter account. So I don't know what to do.
Quick word on Zootopia, by the way. It's a can of worms. Suffice to say, if you haven't seen it, it's a movie about animals. It came out in 2016. It made $1 trillion. It caused almost as many furry awakenings. And it majorly pushed furry-adjacent design language into the internet mainstream. People were more aware of furries than ever before. So it might have been a little related to this. Maybe. By now, probably hoping that the dust had already settled, furries had made their responses, and they would continue to. Most of the furries responding to this publicly said it was inappropriate, said they didn't necessarily condone it, said there were more productive uses of people's time, and a lot of them made the note that whether anyone really likes it or not, furries just don't have great representation online right now, and participating in campaigns like this did make them look bad.
Film companies and cereal companies know about furries, but so do juice companies, car companies, mattress companies. They all have nodded to the fandom in their advertising. Furry has more traffic online than ever before, so it's up to all of us to make sure that when someone looks up the word furry, that they don't just see the worst examples.
And Tony's tweets, albeit to a way lesser extent, would continue to get vandalized forever. In Kellogg's final attempt to inject Tony into internet culture, in late 2022, they made Tony the Tiger into a VTuber. If you don't know, a VTuber is a guy like this.
You know what I mean? Like, dude, this is me breathing normal.
Chibi-Dobi's funny. I kinda like her.
They were breaking new ground, and by manner of turning Tony into a Twitch streamer, Kellogg's hoped against hope that it would work. But it didn't. His comments, again, were filled with innuendos and eggplant emojis. At one point, he even acknowledged it. He expressed bewilderment at just how much the people like him.
I'm flattered that a lot of you have said that you like me, and a lot of you told me that you really, really liked me.
And with this last twist of the knife, Tony called it quits indefinitely. November 1st, 2022. In his final ever tweet, Tony advertises limited time blueberry frosted flakes to tie in with the Avatar film.
Oh God.
His reward? As obscene a comment section as ever. And that was it. Tony or the Kellogg's team or whoever, they had been successfully chased offline. Well, that's actually not true. Tony the Tiger did have one, and only one, online refuge. The furry art websites. Part 5. Sonic. It should come as no surprise, given everything that we've learned, but there wasn't exactly a precedent for normal Tony fan art online, ever. So in the vacuum created by his sudden and seemingly permanent absence after 2022, nothing really changed. The same people who found Tony attractive, be it for the meme or sincerely, would continue to make adult furry art of him. And lacking any other prominent meme, this remains Tony's strongest connection to internet culture. So, in the worst way, Tony did get the amount of viral traction that he wanted, just of an unusual variety. And I'd just like to make a final point, now that the dust is settled. It might seem funny, but I actually think Kellogg's was completely in the right to take this as seriously as they did. Imagine not being able to Google Frosted Flakes without seeing furry hole. That is not the kind of brand damage that everyone can recover from. We can laugh at Tony for mass blocking, although realistically I don't know what other options he had. But let's think of it this way. Even though this undoubtedly sucked for Kellogg's, this might have been for the best. Is it possible that Kellogg's dodged a nuke? We'll never know. But I really think deep down, Tony the Tiger is an understanding guy. And if he ever got to meet any of the thousands of furries who genuinely admire him, I'm sure he'd say, "They're great." This has been Bad Art History. Thank you, as always, to the patron cells for keeping the dream alive. You guys are... It's because of you guys that I can keep paying my editors to make these absolutely demented visual spectacles. And that means a lot. If you want to see me mess up and laugh during my lines and just all the stuff that I cut out of the video, please consider becoming a patron. Okay, bye!
Okay, I'm gonna mute so I can vacuum up this hair. Okay. Listen. Okay, I think I just need to put on makeup and then I'll be done and ready to film, so this is like a weird, awkward stream. Didn't really say a whole lot, but yeah. I fixed the lighting and it's still fucked up. Whatever. Okay, I'm gonna go film now.